Okay, guys, from my looking at your showing me what you remember from last year, I saw that some of us need to review exponential numbers, or exponents, we just usually call them, but the proper is exponential numbers. So we're going to go just really like a refresher today, because I think that's probably what most of us need. And if you're still having trouble, just comment to me or private message me, or we can come to my Google Meet at 2:30 this afternoon, whatever you need to do if this does not jog your memories, and that's okay. All right, so this right here is what we call an exponential number. Actually, this little 3 is the only thing that is the exponent. But so this whole thing is called an exponential number, but most time we just call them exponents. The large number, in this case the 5, is called your base, and it has a job, and its job is it's actually the only number that is multiplied. And the 3, the small number, which is your exponent, its job is to tell you how many times to multiply the base. So if you look right here, it says to find the value of 5 to the 3rd power, or this can also be called 5 cubed, you multiply 5 times 5 times 5, which equals 125. Or you could also write it like this: 5 times 5 times 5. Side by side means to multiply, and we're going to get more into that next week. We're going to try to get away from writing 5 times 5 times 5 like this, using that X as your time sign. And I know you've done that for since 2nd or 3rd grade, but we're going to try to get away from that, because as we move on in this unit, X can be our variable. So then it can be confusing. Is that X mean to multiply, or is that X my variable? So that's why we're going to try to get just totally away from this multiplying and focus more on this way and this way. Okay, so got off a little course a little bit, so let's go back and talk about the lesson today, which is exponents. And so let's say you had 4 to the 5th power. Now that 4 is your base, so that is the number that's going to be multiplied over and over and over again. The 5 is my exponent, so that means it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4s. But that does not mean 5 times 4. That means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, so this is where you're really going to be happy that Miss Pendleton's going to let you use a calculator. So you're going to get your calculator, and then you're going to multiply that out. Now, be careful with your calculator, because sometimes you can put in not enough 4s, and sometimes you can put in too many. So be careful and actually count them as you're doing it. So hopefully you've already put this in. So if you say 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 in your calculator, excuse me, my wrist hit that, that is going to equal 1024. So 4 to the 5th power would equal 1024. And we got that by multiplying 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Seven to the 4th power. 7 is my base, so that is what's going to be multiplied. I'll have 4 7s, so 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. So you would put that in your calculator: 7 times 7 times 7 times 7, and that would equal 2040. Oh, excuse me, got the right numbers in the wrong order. That would be 2401. So the base is what's multiplied over and over and over and over again, and the exponent is telling you how many times to multiply it. Yesterday on your show me what you remember assignment, I think you had 4 squared was one of them, and a lot of you put 8 as your answer. And I know what you did 4 times 2, but that's not what that means. this means 4 times 4, which equals 16. And then I have one on there, 2 to the 4th power. And again, a lot of you put the answer 8 because you said 2 times 4. No, this means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And so again, the answer is 16. So the base tells me what's going to be multiplied. The exponent tells me how many times to write that base. Then example 2 here we're going to look at says write 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 using an exponent. So what's being multiplied over and over and over again? 3. So that would be my base. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4 3s. So 4 would be my exponent. Example 3 says write 4 to the 5th power as a product of the same number. Product, that word product means to multiply, so it means I need to multiply that. How would I multiply that? Well, since 4 is my base, that's what's going to be multiplied over and over again. 5 tells me I need 5 of these 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that the one I did up here? Yep, it is the one I did up there. So that would equal 1,024. All right. Change this from a multiplication problem to an exponential number or exponent. What's being multiplied over and over and over again? 7. How many? 1, 2, 3. So that's 7 to the 3rd power. Or that also has a nickname called 7 cubed. Remember when you did volume and you always put that little exponent 3 and you call that cubed, cubic inches? Okay, what's being multiplied over and over and over here? 10. So 10 would be my base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. So 5 would be my exponent. So they're asking you to find the value. So 2 to the 3rd power means 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. So that is 8. 8 squared, or you can say 8 to the 2nd power, but it has a nickname too, squared. And again, remember when you did area and everything was always squared units because it was that little 2. So again, that has that nickname squared, or you can say 8 to the 2nd power. The 8 is my base, which means that's what's going to be multiplied. The 2 tells me how many. 1, 2, so that means 8 times 8, which is 64. Very rarely you will see, but you will see every once in a while, so I wanted to talk to you about that special exponential numbers. And notice that every one of these examples I'm giving you has an exponent of 0. 8 to the 0 power, 3,500 to the 0 power, 52 to the 0 power, 580 to the 0 power. So if any exponential number with an exponent of 0 always has a value of 1. So 8 to the 0 power equals 1. 3,500 to the 0 power equals 1. 52 to the 0 power equals 1. 580 to the 0 power equals 1. Anytime it could be 1,247 to the 0 power. When you see that 0 power, you automatically know it equals 1. So just reviewing what we've talked about today. If you see, we use 4 a lot, let's not use 4. Okay, 5 to the 4th power, and I ask you what is the value of that? To find the value of that, you would say 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Then you would take your calculator and you would put in 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And I'll get that to you. Somebody was trying to call me and couldn't get my calculator. So that would equal 625. So the value of 5 to the 4th is 625. How I get that answer is by multiplying 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Now, we haven't talked about anything to the first power. Well, let's think about the jobs of each one of these parts. The base tells me what's going to be multiplied. The exponent tells me how many times to write the base. Well, if my exponent is a 1, then I just have to write the answer 42 one time. If I have any number to the 0 power, it is always equal 1. After our Google Meet today, I will place, or right before our Google Meet today, I will place the practice problems because I want you to use that time during our Google Meet to do your practice problems. So if you have a problem, I'm there and I can answer your question.